Hey, what's up guys, your beam guy Sam here today with another Revit tutorial video. Now in our today's video, we're gonna get into the process of reinforcing all those sort of concrete elements such as columns, beams, slabs, footings, and so on, exactly like the picture that you can see. Now let's make a quick review on what we learned so far together. On this series, on a first episode that you guys watched it before, we came up with this Revit fancy modern design that you can see in the picture, and we made it from the scratch. So if anyone by any chance haven't yet touched Revit at all, don't worry at all, because they would be able to learn this by just watching this for the first time. Then on our second day, we came up with this concrete building that you can see. So we just made up all those sort of concrete elements like beams, columns, and slabs all together. They got matched, but without any reinforcements, since today we're gonna get and reinforce them, right? So if anyone so far haven't yet watched any of these videos that we mentioned, you know what you need to do. You simply just need to check out my YouTube channel, and don't forget to subscribe yourself, as every week I hit you up with a brand new fresh Revit video. Now let's stick to our today's video, which we're gonna get into the reinforcing all those sort of elements that you can see. So as you can see here, this is the concrete building that we made up so far together. But you wouldn't be able to see the concrete building because the design, the architectural one, is simply hiding it, right? So in order to be able to start that off, I simply just need to hide my architectural building. How I would be able to do that? By simply press VG. So simply just like press VG, and here you would be able to get into the Revit links up there below. Simply uncheck this box, and then there you go, the architectural model is gone. So as you can see, this is the so far building, the concrete building that we made together. Now to start this off, I simply wanted to categorize the elements. So on our first category, here comes the isolated footings, right? We're going to start with the isolated footings as the design that you can see. So in order to start this off, simply I'm just going to go to the level 1 by double click on this. There you go with this level 1. I'm simply going to stick with this column. I want to make sure that everything is going to get well with this one, right? So this is the footing that we created before. So in order to reinforce the footings like the design that you saw, first of all, we need to make some sort of section. So I simply click on the section and make sure that the section is going to get cut the footing. Make sure to flip the section and simply limit the depth of view and get into the section. So here you go with the section. Make sure to put the level of detail on fine. Simply put the visual style on consistent colors. And simply you just need to click onto the footing that you can see here, and by simply clicking on the rebar onto the top toolbar up there, you would be able to start reinforcing it. All right, so as you can see here, among all those sort of rebars that we have, this is the preferred shape that I wanted to start with it. So I simply click on it, and now here, in order to make sure that the one that I want to go with it would be all fine, I'm going to just simply put it as current work plane, but here I want to put it on parallel to work plane. So I simply bring it here, and just rest assured, because you wouldn't be able to exceed from the cover. So simply I'm just going to put it here, and the upper one, I simply going to put it up there, as you can see. Now, the only stuff that you guys need to do is to make sure that they're not overlapping each other. So I'm simply going to put this in this way. Here we go with this one. And also I'm going to simply select them both. Make sure that they're going to be with maximum spacing or fixed number, whichever you're more comfortable with it. Or any of these would be working. I'm simply going to go with the maximum spacing. So I need to get back to the level 1 right now to make another one exactly getting happen. So in order to make the other way rebars getting done, simply I need to make another section. So here you go, make another section like that, and get into the section by double clicking onto the bubble there. Simply just extend the view down there. You would be able to see this simply put this on fine, consistent colors. Select the isolated foundation, go for the rebar, select the shape that you wish to go with it, current work plane, parallel to work plane, and simply you would be able to place that again, as you see. And also I want to make sure that this one, simply by just using the arrows on the keyboard, I want to place it a bit down, like that. Same goes with this one as well. And also, I simply want to choose them and make sure that they're also going to be with maximum spacing. Now, I simply going to get back into the 3D, and in order to just realize that which footing was getting embedded with all those sort of reinforcements, simply going to put the visual style on wireframe. There you go with this one, right? So in order to make sure that all those sort of reinforcements will get unobscured and as well getting solid, so then we would be able to see them, I just simply need to select them all. So select all the rebars, even you can do that by this, and just simply hit up to the filter there, check 9, just simply put the structural rebar. And here from the properties tab, you simply can just go with the view visibility states and put the 3D view unobscured, view as solid. There you go. Now we can put it on consistent colors and it's working well, as you can see, right? Isn't it beautiful? So the only other thing that is important to always, because sometimes you need to simply adjust the hook length, right? So in order to just simply adjust the hook length, you would be able to simply select one of those sort of rebars, and simply you can just go to the edit type. And by the way, this is the size of the rebars that we have used, which is 13M. So I simply can go on to the edit type. And if you wish to make sure that this change is only going to get stick with this rebar in this foundation, simply duplicate with it, unless all the rebars with 13M going to get changed. Once you duplicate it, simply get back to the hook length here, click on here, and then you would be able to adjust the size here. So for example, if I wish to have with this, let's say 150 millimeters, then simply put it there. Now we're all fine, so I'm not going to touch it, but that's the way how you would be able to adjust the hook length. Here is for the 90 degree. If the hook length was for the 180 degrees, so then you have to basically replace the value there. That's how we do this. Simply click on OK and OK, and the change will get appeared if you just replace the value there. So we are done with how we would be able to come up with the rebars in isolated foundation. Now, right now, we're going to get into the columns. So I'm going to show you how we would be able to reinforce the columns. So in order to do that, I simply going to go to the level 1. There you go with this footings that we made it before. So if I just simply put it on hidden line or wireframe, you would be able to see the reinforcements there. So I simply gonna put it on wireframe, so then you would be able to see all those sort of reinforcement. Though in order to start the column, I need to make sure that these sort of reinforcements are all gonna get hidden, because definitely wouldn't be able to recognize what sort of reinforcement is that for this column. So in order to be able to hide the additional reinforcement which has nothing to do with the column, here you need to go with the properties. So simply you get back to the properties tab, you just come all the way down till you found view range. So simply click on view range, and then here you just simply need to put this on associated level 1. Click on apply, and as you can see, just temporarily the footings with all those sort of reinforcements gonna get hidden, and then we would be able to do the job here. Now to start reinforcing the columns, I'll show you what are the types of the columns that we need to reinforce them. So once you want to start the columns, here you need to know about the columns. One thing is super important. The thing is, if the column has any sort of top offset, meaning that the column hasn't extended exactly to the next level, you wouldn't be able to do that, let's say, ordinary or like as how we usually do it. So to show you guys, I simply gonna put another column here, structural column, gonna put it height, level 2, simply I put it there. Select the column, make sure that it's only from level 1 to level 2. So if right now I simply go with this rebar, first of all, you need to select the column. Then you go with the rebar. Simply I'm gonna put it for rebar, current work plane, or let's say we can put it from far cover reference, and here you can put it on perpendicular to the cover. So as you can see, you would be able to place the reinforcement here, but it's not the same story with this one. So as you can see, Revit wouldn't allow us to do the same thing with this column. The reason is that this column hasn't exactly extended to the next level, as it is minus 30 centimeters less than the second level. So that's why. Simply gonna remove this column because this is not the case right now here for today. In order to solve this issue, so then we would be able to reinforce this column as easy as you saw for the other one, I simply need to go to a random elevation. So I simply go to north and I'm gonna click on reference plane there. So simply select a reference plane and you just need to draw a reference plane. So I'm gonna just simply draw the reference plane there and simply put a name for that, as you can see. The only important point about this reference plane is that it has to be somewhere not taller than the column. So let's say it couldn't be there. It should be somewhere between the level 1 till level 2, since you are working on the column on the first level. So let's get back to the level 1 where the column was located. So here, earlier than selecting this column and get it back onto the rebar, I simply gonna get to the set and put this on reference plane 1. Click on OK, and now we would be able to select the column, get into the rebar, and just simply put this on current work plane, still on the perpendicular to the cover, and now it would let us to do the column. Alright, so here to start reinforcing this column, I simply gonna put this on fixed number, on 3, according to the design. Then the size of the rebar is gonna be on 13. So simply go for it here, and also another one there. Perfect. Now, as you can see in our design, we need to add another rebar there. But earlier than putting the rebar there, I prefer to do the stirrups or the transverse reinforcement first. And then later on, we'll get back to this reinforcement or this rebar. So this is the way that how I suggest, because that would definitely work for you. So simply to do that, again, you need to select the column, go with the rebar, just scroll down till you just simply find the stirrups. Like this one. Alright, so I'm gonna put it on parallel to work plane. And then here, you just make sure to put this on current work plane. Then from the rebar set, I simply gonna put this on fixed number. So simply, or let's say maximum spacing as well working. So let's put it on maximum spacing. And as you can see, once you bring the point viewer to the column, you would be able to see the stirrups. So if you wish to just simply flip the stirrups by simply just press on space, as you can see, we'd be able to flip it. So I'm just gonna go with this, simply click on it, and as you can see, the longitudinal reinforcements are getting embraced by the stirrups. Now it's time to add the third rebar. So the third rebar is a bit tricky, but I'm gonna show you guys a very nice, super easy trick. So whatever sort of detail that you guys have to work with it, definitely that would working for you. Simply here, I just wanted to make sure that this rebar is exactly getting into it. Let's make sure that all the rebars are exactly getting into it. Okay, perfect. So that's working. By the way, if you wish to just simply adjust the cover, what you need to do is simply go to the structure, and then there you go with the cover up there. Simply click on the cover, and then you would be able to go there by clicking there. And as you can see, for the exterior 10mm to 16mm, the spacing would be 40 millimeters. This means that in our case right now, since we're using the rebars with 13mm, the spacing is 40. So if you wish to simply change the cover, you would be able to type another number, replace the value, and simply click on OK, and that will get changed here. Now let's get back to the third rebar that we need to have here with the size of 13mm. So in order to do that, again, I'm gonna select the column, click onto the rebar, gonna put it back onto the longitudinal rebar shape, M00, get it back with perpendicular to the cover, current work plane, gonna put it with fixed number, gonna go with the third, and simply bring it here, make sure that the size is 13mm, and simply gonna place the rebar exactly here. So I do understand that it's going to be a repetition here, but don't worry, we'll make that work. So here, to work with this, simply click on this rebar and make another copy like that. Okay, since you have copied the rebar, now you would be able to turn this back to only one, or we just put it on single, as you can see. So it went there. Now what I need to do is to simply choose the align, as this one is exactly getting placed at the proper location. I simply gonna hit the tab until I find the line. Click for this one and simply click for this one. And now we would be able to delete this one. And as you can see, the single rebar is getting placed exactly as where it has to be. So this one is getting work. Now I can show you guys that how the spacing is working or not by simply choose and put some align dimension. But as you can see, if you simply just go for the align dimension, there are gonna be those sort of giant align dimension that wouldn't be able working for you. The very fast way to just like figure this out is to simply change your scale. So I simply gonna put the scale on 1/5 and get back to the align dimension. Simply start to click by there, another one here, here, and the last one there. So now as you can see, all the spacing are working perfectly, as you can see here. Now to just give you guys a harder or more difficult sort of example to just make sure that you guys grab this material, I just, instead of having one rebar getting left there, I want to add 2 rebars there, right? So in order to do that, I simply gonna remove this rebar by hitting on tab till Revit find it. Okay, simply remove this one. And now in order to add rebars again, I simply need to click onto the column, go for the rebar from the top toolbar, and then put it on rebar shape M, current work plane, placement perpendicular to the cover. Here I'm gonna put it on fixed number, and since this time we should have 4 rebars overall, meaning 2 rebars in the middle part, I'm gonna put it on 4 here, as you can see. Now simply bring the point viewer to the side, and you can see that the rebars are getting exactly placed and the corner rebars are now getting duplicated, right? So once you see that, simply click for it, and now you would be able to choose this sort of rebars and simply make a copy of them there, as you can see. Now what you need to do is to simply choose both of them and simply put them on number with spacing. So as you can see, there are 4 rebars and the spacing between them are 26.8, right? So now what I need to do is to simply choose this one and get it back to 2, right? And the last step is to just simply adjust these rebars to getting in an order with these rebars. So simply gonna get on apply, on align. Just simply bring the point viewer till you find the horizontal snap there, and with this one as well, click on OK, and now you would be able to delete this one, and this one is getting perfectly placed there. And as you can see, there is no longer any sort of repetition getting happen there. So this rebar is simply working with this one, those ones are at the proper place, and these ones are only independent to the others. Cool, so it's perfectly working. Now, in order to make sure that the same rebars getting happen there, simply choose them, go for the mirror, and simply draw the axis to getting copy paste there, as you can see. Now, I just wanted to make sure that all those sort of rebars that we already made them are getting in the 3D visual. So simply gonna choose them all. And then here, go for the graphics, view visibility states, and then here you would just make sure to check these boxes, view unobscured and view as solid. So it will show the same on 3D as well. So now we're all good. Also, we can add the align dimension there. So as you can see, all the sizes are working perfectly good enough. All right. Now the next step is to make sure that the hook part, which is gonna get into the isolated footing, is also working as well. Now in order to do that, I simply gonna choose all those sort of rebars here, as you can see. And what I'm gonna do is to go here for the hook at start. I simply gonna put it for 90 degree, as you can see. So some of those hooks are not getting exactly properly oriented. So this means that what we need to do is to simply flip the side to make sure that they're getting perfectly good. So what I need to do, for example, let's go on to the 3D so then you guys would be able to better see this, like this here. So this one, as you can see, it should get flipped exactly on the opposite side. So simply click for that and start to press space. And as you can see, it's getting exactly done. Same for this one, double or sometimes triple spaces, and then eventually it works. Same with this one and this one, as you can see. So now we're all good in terms of hooks. But the point is, the size is not working well, plus they should get into the foundation. So in order to solve this issue, basically, we need to choose those rebars. And what we need to do is to get into the edit type, duplicate this one. For example, we can put it as 13M for footing rebar. Then click on OK. So then you can go to the hook length, and since the depth, or let's say the width of the footing that we are working on is almost like around 50 centimeters, I'm simply gonna put this as 100. Or you can put it as 0.1, click on OK, click on OK, and as you can see right now, we can basically like go a bit more on this. So instead of like pointing it, put it on 0.1, we can simply put it as 150. Click on OK, click on OK. Now I believe the size is working with this one. So the last step is to just make sure that the basically the in terms of length, they're getting placed into the footing. And also I can see that, yeah, so all those sort of rebars are working well. I just wanted to check the sizes. Yes. So let's get to the level 1. Here we got a section. I'm going to use this section. So what I can do is to simply choose those sort of rebars, and with the help of these arrows, you would be able to bring them in. As you can see here, I can get back to the level 1 again, go with another section here. So if it's still something is left, I would be able to handle that with this, as you can see. So now let's get back to the 3D. So in terms of the columns and the rebars, in terms of footing plus the column, we're all good. I just wanted to make sure that if you put this on wireframe, you would be able to choose the stirrups. You choose these stirrups and you go for the view visibility states and make sure to check the boxes here. So then they will get the same like the longitudinal ones. So as you can see right now, we're all fine in terms of the rebars for the columns and for the isolated footings. Now let's get to the next stage, which is reinforcing the beams. So usually beams has two different ways to getting reinforced, which I show you both. So the difference between them is beams alone or just like beams getting up them within slab. So if you got a beam which is got a slab on it, then it's going to be on the second category, which I'll show you next. But if it's just like simple beam alone, that's how you guys need to do that, which I'll show you. So in order to just like bring a beam which is not getting accompanied with a slab or something, simply gonna go to level 2 and make a beam here. So simply gonna go with the structure tab, click on beam, put it on 300 and 200 centimeters, level 2 here, and simply make a beam here, as you can see. No right. So in order to reinforce the beams with the longitudinal and the stirrups as well, what you guys need to do is to simply make a section here. So simply I make a section, as you can see, just make sure to limit the section, the depth of the section, and then double click here to get into the section. There you go, put it on fine, consistent colors. That is the beam that you can see. So simply click onto the beam, click onto the rebar, and now you would be able to, if you put it on current work plane, then put it on perpendicular to the cover, you would be able to place the longitudinal rebar. So I'm gonna put it on, let's say, fixed number, then I'm gonna go with 3 and simply put 3 up and 3 down. There you go with the longitudinal rebars, as easy as you can see. And now for the stirrups, I'm simply gonna go again here, scroll all the way down till you find the rebar shape MT1. Then I'm gonna put the size on 10mm, and then for the spacing, I'm gonna just go with the maximum width spacing, and here make sure to put it on parallel to work plane, current work plane, and simply you would be able to place them. Now don't worry if you see just like the longitudinal rebars are not exactly getting into these stirrups, simply just select them by hitting tab. You can select it. Once you start to play a bit with these sort of toggles there, you can see that it's getting automatically placed there. So as you can see, this is how easy you guys can come up with the longitudinal and the transverse rebars for the beams without any sort of slabs up there. And if you wish, let me just like bring you back to the 3D. Simply click on this, put it on wireframe. So then I would be able to choose the longitudinal and the stirrups here. Make sure to put this on view on obscured and view as solid, so then you would be able to watch them into the 3D. Now, if you wish to make sure that these longitudinal rebars are getting with some sort of hooks at the starting or at the ending point, you should just simply select them, get into the properties here, hook at start, and put it on 90 degree. So as you can see now, even they're getting some hooks at the beginning part as well. All right, so that's how easy you can come up with the rebars on the beams. Now let's get to our model, which is with the slabs on it. So that is the most tricky one, usually in the Revit structure. So in order to do that, I simply gonna go with the level 2. So let's get back to the level 2. And here, I'm gonna put it on wireframe. And as you can see, just below the slab, you can see the main beam here, right there. So what I'm gonna do is to simply make a section there. So simply choose the section and make a very smooth section here. And then double click on it till you find the section. So as you can see right now here, this is the beam that we have, and this is the slab that we have. So this time is a bit different. So this is the second category, which is those sort of beams which are having the slabs on top. So again here, what I'm gonna do is to simply choose the beam, go with the rebar, simply click onto the rebar, and then get back again with the longitudinal rebars, rebar shape M1, make sure to put it on current work plane, perpendicular to the cover, and simply put it on fixed number. And then simply I'm gonna bring it back here and put it there. Now this time, earlier than putting the top longitudinal layer, I'm gonna put the transverse rebars, meaning the stirrups. So simply just gonna go and scroll down till I find this one. Let's put it on maximum spacing, put it on parallel to work plane, and simply put it there. All right, so as you can see, it's automatically getting all the way up till it will done with the cover. So since this is the boundary with the cover, it would no longer would be able to exceed from here. Now, as you can see, the rebars are all working well here. We don't need to shift them. So what I need to do is to simply choose them. Let me just make sure that they are on 13 in terms of size. All right, so we're all good in terms of size. Now just simply choose the lower longitudinal rebars, go for the mirror, and make sure to put the midpoint for the stirrups. So I believe there would be the midpoint for the stirrups. So simply draw the sketch, the axis, and as you can see perfectly, the top toolbars, or let's say the top rebars, are all getting perfectly happen, as you can see. Now the last step is to just add some other rebars like the area reinforcements to cover for these slabs. Definitely there are a lot of slabs with a lot of types, like one-way, two-way, or different sort of slabs, which they all would be different in terms of the details. But this one, simply we're gonna stick to the most easiest way to just simply come up with sort of area reinforcements on the slab. So I'm going to show you guys how to come up with the reinforcements into slab. But earlier than reaching out there, simply just wanted to make sure that we have already put the beam rebars onto the on-upskirt and 3D in terms of view visibility settings. So don't forget to put them in 3D, so then you would be able to see that into the 3D, as you can see here. And also, as we already mentioned, we would be able to choose them and simply put the hook at start on 90 degree. Here, let me put it for the ending part and put this on none. As you can see, it works like that. And also, you guys would be able to simply shift all the longitudinal rebars up there. So then it will just be on the rating for the second floor. Same goes with this one. Simply going all the way up. as you can see like that. All right, so we're all fine in terms of the beams, columns, and the footings. The last step is to just go for the slabs. So I'll show you guys how to do the slabs super easy. So simply you just like need to get back to the level 2, or we can do that also on 3D as well. Let's just simply choose the slab by just bring the point viewer to the edges, go on to the top. Let's select the area reinforcement up there and simply define the boundary for it. Which is going to be there. And now, earlier than clicking on finish and be able to see the area reinforcements for these slabs, just wanted to make sure that the properties are all fine. So in terms of the size of the rebars, I'm going to go with 10M. Do I want to have some top major hook type? If you wish to have, you can just simply put it on some. I don't want to have some hooks, so I'm going to put it on none. Then the spacing is going to be on 300 millimeters. There you go with top minor 1, again on none, top minor spacing, 10M for the bottom ones as well. So you're all fine, and now I simply going to click on apply and click on finish. Again, I'm going to go for the view visibility stakes. Make sure that view unobscured and view as solid is all checked for the 3D view, as you can see. So those are sort of the area reinforcements for the slabs as well. There you go. So as you just saw, we're all fine in terms of the rebars and the reinforcements for the columns, for the beams, for the footings, and simply just like need to apply the same approaches on the rest of the elements, and it would be all come up with the full building getting reinforced. I hope you guys enjoyed so far, and just simply stay tuned with a lot of new videos that every week shall get out. Thank you so much for your time and have a lovely day. Goodbye.